Hello everyone. Good morning and welcome to the after AU classes. And today is our first webinar, and we are going to cover Autodesk BIM 360 solution, specifically how it can help us in the coordination and design collaboration. So this is our first webinar on November. So I welcome you all, and it was really nice seeing you all in AU this year. It was a good success and a good turnaround, and I'm really glad that you joined in back on our after AU classes. So these series of webinars will be something that will give us what new which we have post our 2020 release this year, because in BIM 360 you will see a lot of changes, updates, UI updates that has come almost on a monthly basis this year. So today in this session, I'm going to cover all the new that has been reached up to August 2018. That was the last update that we received on BIM 360. And if you'd have logged BIM 360 recently, yesterday or today, you would have seen some few new added features, specifically in the design collaboration and design coordination, which will really help us to collaborate effectively with multiple teams when working on shared files, or it could be a work sharing environment or a non-work sharing environment that we generally work upon. So this is something that I have planned today in this sessions to cover. This is a 1 hour webinar, and before I start, I wanted to take you through a safe harbor slide. I'll give you a time to just read through it. It mentions that in this webinar, we will be talking something about the UI and BIM 360, which constantly gets changed, and also about some third-party applications, which works very well with Autodesk BIM 360, and which adds values to what BIM 360 is capable of. However, we do not take full responsibility on the third-party apps that are mentioned on our web page. So I give you a time to just read through that, and following that, we'll start our uh, webinar. Okay, so moving forward, before I start the slides, I wanted to mention we have an option to win at this AU after classes. There are amazing prizes, including Amazon Eco and Autodesk brand goodies, which will be given out by 18th December 2019, and it will be given to a person drawn out from a lucky draw. And for that lucky draw, we have polls at the end of the webinar. So I strongly recommend that you take this poll. Once I finish my webinar, I'll start the poll, and during that poll, I would request if you can enter your full name, organization email ID, and phone number, because all the communications will go through that phone number and email ID that you mentioned during your poll. So keep that in mind, and we'll mention about this wins as we complete our November webinar classes. And on 18 December, we'll announce the winner post this webinar. Okay, let's move into that. So today's webinar is mostly on the collaboration part, and specifically with the BIM 360 platform that we have. Uh, I have a full webinar plan on specific features that includes capability of collaboration and coordination. So before I start the actual demo of that particular product, I'll go through a quick slides on what exactly is the concept. So those who are new to BIM 360 just have an idea on what BIM 360 is capable of and how it has been architected and designed to work in collaborative environment. And post that, we'll straight away dive into our BIM 360 platform and see all the benefits and feature lists that we have for today. So collaboration as such is a very important task in any organization that we work, specifically in the AEC industry. Collaboration is key to have complete our project in time, with budget, and without overshooting and costing additional charge to the client. And when we talk about file sharing, this is what the main collaboration is all about, the data that how we share across the project. And till now, the conventional method we always use is a software which is installed on a machine where we develop a particular file that we use in the project, and that file is shared either in the form of electronic or a hard copy to a different person. And in this stage, this is a very low intelligent model that we generally shares. And the best part is it's only a one-way flow. That is, the source always supplies the file to the other person and they just consume it. Now, in case if we have to have a collaborative environment, the file really needs to move in in all directions. Like it has to be able to communicate and gather informations from different sources. Now, take a scenario if we have to push it onto the site, we share the model to the site, and the site information, if it needs to be incorporated back into our file, this is something that we want more on the collaboration sides. Now, to work on these collaborative effort, Autodesk has come up with the BIM 360 services. What we were able to identify is, like, if we push this model into a format which is more easily collaborative, more easily accessible, and more easily readable in any handheld device or just an Internet Explorer, that will really solve half of the issue that we have. So what we have worked on this is, like, if we connect all our applications, whether you're using Revit, Civil 3D, Naviswork, AutoCAD, if we can have a storage on a cloud-based environment, then what our BIM 360 service generally does in the background is it enables that model into a web application that is an HTML format. So it at the background enables an HTML reading view of that particular file, which we can access in any handheld devices or Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Safari that we use on our normal laptop or mobile devices. Now, the best part is when we access this model on the go using our mobile or iPads, we can also communicate this information back into our desktop using the BIM 360. So any markups, any capturing of image or site informations that we have, we can capture it from our handheld devices, use our BIM 360 to store that data and pass that information back into our model. And while using BIM 360, we not only just supports the Autodesk file format, but what we do is we support over 50 different industry formats, non-Autodesk file formats. So there, if we have listed those file formats on our web page, you can go through that, and any file that is listed on that, if it is a 3D model, mostly it is compatible with BIM 360. You can open and view that file directly in the web browser itself. Now, just brief intro of how the BIM 360 is developed over a period of year. You may have heard about our A360 drive, which was first introduced somewhere close to about 2010 and 12, which was most popular time for this A360 drive. And what it allowed us to push that data into uh, a cloud platform, that is our cloud storage. And this file can be accessed through any handheld device or Internet Explorer. We saw the opportunity to further develop it into a BIM 360 team. And this is where we introduced Revit collaboration, which was called as Collaboration for Revit, C4R, which was introduced in 2015. And we were able to store our Revit collaborative file, Revit work sharing file into a BIM 360 team environment. And we were able to work with multiple teams using work sharing, keeping the file on the central storage. Now, this BIM 360 team allowed us to have a collaborative environment with multiple teams. However, with file being able to access through an HTML, there was a much better opportunity to use it in a broader spectrum. So this is when 2018, last year, we were able to split that BIM 360 into multiple services. The main, which we call it as BIM 360 doc, which is the document management, which stores all the data. And then we were able to link multiple services on top of it, like BIM 360 glue or model coordination, which we call them, BIM 360 field for field management, BIM 360 layout for point layout, and you connecting hardwares like total stations with your model, and also BIM 360 plan and ops for further integrations for operation and maintenance. Now with this BIM 360, we opened up a web application programming for our whole file, and this is now allowing us to take our model not only just to the site but also to operation and maintenance, and helps us connect various IoT devices with our model as we go for in the later handover stage and all. So let's talk about the whole concept and how BIM 360 works. So here we keep data as the main center of all the communication. So the file which is developed by a designer is shared with other services like structure, MEP, firefighting, and so on. They put on all the data into your main centralized file, and this data is used to run various analysis, whether it's analysis of the data usage, who's using, who's downloading, who has had comments, who had our markups, different review and approval processes for your entire project. And it can also grant various type of viewing and permission access to that data from that centralized location. And this analysis is directly linked with our whole solution that we have. So we have our product lineup like AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor, Civil 3D, Naviswork. They all communicate directly using BIM 360, using our Autodesk desktop connector to BIM 360. So all our files, you don't need to upload a file to a BIM 360 or download to use it. It is directly done from our model itself. You simply use the file open command to open the file from BIM 360. When you save, you just save as and put the location as BIM 360 instead of your own C drive or a local server that we generally used to do. So as a user, the functionality remains very similar, but all these things works on the background. So all your data automatically gets stored into your BIM 360 platform. And with that BIM 360 platform, we have integrated that with Autodesk Forge technology, which is the building platform for BIM 360. Now, what this Forge technology does, Forge platform does, is helps other developers and partners to connect their app to our BIM 360 platform. So what Forge generally does is it's nothing but it helps different customer and partner to develop app which can extract informations from our centralized data and can give you a report or any kind of formats that you want. Say if you wanted to integrate cameras to the site, you wanted to extract certain reports out from there, you wanted to integrate other applications like Power BI and so on with your site, it helps you to link that together. So Forge is a platform that enables us to develop web-based application and link it with our BIM 360 environment. Now, just to start the BIM 360 module, this is how an interface of BIM 360 will look like. So it has the first thing is the nine dots that you see on top is the context menu, where it will have all the services that you have enabled will get listed down over here. So what you see here is a project inside document management, project management, design collaboration, model coordination, and field management. So these are individual services that are enabled in that BIM 360 module. So what each ones are is the first most important part is the document management. And this is the base which we always should have to start BIM 360. So document management will have folder structures. You can control your folder structures, permission levels, and so on. It helps you review your model in terms of just reviewing, creating markups, call outs, and so on. It also helps you create transmitters and log issues and track issues, how it has been handled throughout the projects in a project folder. Now then we have the design collaboration. This is making Revit to work on a cloud platform. So your work sharing environment, when you have a centralized file, you can save that on BIM 360 platform. And design collaboration service will allow multiple users to work on that centralized file from any location. They have been granted access with their login details. Then we have the model coordination, and this tool specifically does real-time clash on all the files that are stored on docs. So you can specifically take folders or files that you wanted to run a clash. You can group them and name them, so that anytime you wanted to go into model coordination, you select that particular group and it will show you the active clashes at that particular time based on the last save that users have done. And then we have field management. This is specifically on the checklist and digital checklist and templates. You can create your QA and QC checklist, commissioning checklist, safety checklist, and track them digitally, how much has been completed, and generate out reports from there. It also includes site issues, so any kind of site related issues, and track them over a period of time and see how the issues are handled, how many are pendings, what are the backlogs, and so on. It also helps you put on the daily logs, amount of company who has worked on that day, number of users or number of employees of that particular companies, or the labor who has worked on that particular project and for how much time. And also it helps you write down activity logs, notes on daily basis, which you can track and generate out as a report. And then we have the project management tool, which includes RFI and submittals. So these are the two specific um, uh, points which includes in our project management. And then finally, last but not the least, is the insight. And this insights helps you generate out report for all the activities that is done on that, whether it is based on quality, safety, issues that you handle, transmittals, total number of RFIs and submittals. All those reports of your site will be generated at the insight services of that. Now, all the BIM 360 solutions that you see are accessible through desktop and through mobile devices. So as soon as it is pushed onto BIM 360 platform, it is immediately available across all the platforms, and people accessing them from anywhere, anytime will see the latest information. And the whole BIM 360 comes with unlimited storage, and with one BIM 360 account, you can create unlimited number of projects inside that. Now, a basic concept of a common data environment platform or a common data environment is achieved by keeping the project data into as a main common data or a centralized data, which is backed up with Autodesk Forge platform, which is the building platform for all our BIM 360. And Forge also allows us to run analysis and insight, any kind of reporting on that data. And this project data is stored, or I would say it's created at a very initial stage from the design development itself, when all the designers and authoring team work on that. And the same data is then carried on for pre-construction. And if they have any comments or feedbacks, they put back onto the project data, and that is something that the design team also have access at any given time, and that data is then given to field to hand over an operation later on. So as you see, everybody communicate to the same central data platform. So at any given time, whether it is design, pre-construction, field, or execution team, they get the latest data and they seize the latest information from site, how it works. Now let's see the collaboration on BIM 360, how it works. Now BIM 360 platform is accessed through our BIM 360 uh, page, which is docs.b360.autodesk.com. So you require a single sign-on. So if you have an Autodesk ID, you just use that. I recommend that you register the same email ID that you use for Autodesk. The reason, because if you have to access your folder and you have to access this with your Revit, you need to be on the same login, because all the access and permission will be granted through that email ID. Now let's see how the project thing works. So like you can see, these are all the services that are available for me to work on. So to start with, let me show you the account administration, and this is where all the projects and companies and users who are going to work is predefined for that. So first, obviously, it takes me to the project. Second one are the members, and third ones are the companies. Now these companies could be those which, as a owner company, I will be working very closely with. So there are certain companies which customer constantly keep working, so you can add them under your company list. And each company, who all are the members, you can add them on this member directory. Now adding it is fairly very simple. You can just simply invite a member by clicking onto that, entering the email ID, or you can also, if you have a spreadsheet, you can just simply include Excel file, include all their member details, and those member details can be just directly imported into BIM 360 platform here. The third one is the role. So this is the email list. So you can have email ID, first name, last name, and company. The third one is the role and responsibility. Now this is for the ease of admin that we do, like if we have architect, BIM manager, civil engineer, site contractors, and so on, what level of access he should have for individual services, like for document management, project management, field, model coordination, and so on. Now you can either make them as a member here or click onto that and give no access to that. You can also convert into non-project members by clicking disabling project administration. So as soon as you remove this, becomes a member for that. So this way you can control what type of access. Now these are the roles that will really help me to, if I'm adding a new member for that. So if I say I wanted to add a new member and I add a user, and when I add them, you will see I have an option to define the role itself. So this will automatically grant that users this particular role which I have added up, and it will be much more easier for controlling the user access and all. So, but keep in mind, these companies and members that I'm adding up does not consume any kind of licenses at this moment. So it is just about you're keeping a record of all the people that you're working upon. Now, under the analysis tab, you're going to see your BIM 360 license information. Also, how many active members, internal and external companies, and each services, document, project management, design, how many license are getting used upon, and different projects type, how many licenses are used over here. So kind of gives you a brief idea on how your whole licenses are getting used upon. Now to create a project, it is really very simple. Just click onto that add, and what you have is I can say AU post webinar. And when I create that, I need to define a project type, and then I can say save and continue. Now, when I continue this, you can see it asks me what type of services that I want. So currently, these are the services that I have entitlement for. So based on which services you purchase, you will see them under this list and you can activate them. So by clicking activate, you can just simply click activate and give the user name. So this username is coming out from the member list that I have mentioned. So I mark myself and I'll save this. So you can see this particular service has now been activated. I just simply go and say click, and you can see AU post webinar is available. When I click onto that, it shows me that my name is there. I'm the project admin and I have access to document management. Now to access that, I'll just click onto this contact menu and access this document management. And this is how easy it becomes to create a project. Now, every project that I have will by default consist of plan and a project files. Now, what this information has is like plan, these three dots that I see, it allows me to create subfolders and other information. Like I can add subfolders, rename folders, share that, and different permissions level for this folder. So now if I have to add a folder, say for example, I need to create an architect folder, and then I wanted to create a subfolder for MEP. Now you can see I have created two subfolders. Now under architectural, if I have to add another folder, so I can use the architectural context and say this is the interior or landscaping one, and so on. Now to invite a member, I can click onto this and say define permission, right? And then I can add a user. So Devansh, I'll add him to this, right? So I'll use Devansh and define a permission level. Now, when I'm adding a member to that, these are different permission levels that I have. Now, keep in mind, I'm giving permission to Devansh, so he will have the respective permissions to all the subfolders for this architect and below. He will not have any permission to the plan, the upper one. So I have view only, view plus download, upload only, upload, download, upload, view, and download, then edit and full control. The full control means he can invite more members, he can delete some members from there, and so on. And when I add them, he becomes the member of that. So once he accepts that, he will have the access to all the folders and subfolders within the architectural folder that you see. So this is how. Now, what is the difference between plan and folder? Project folder is, now when we work on the plan, you can include all type of file formats which have a 3D geometry information. That means a CAD information. So Revit files, AutoCAD files, or 50 different file formats that we have, you can upload that. But you cannot upload any Word file or Notepad or Excel, because when you say upload a file, you can see you get different file formats to support from. Now in this, say if I go into a desktop and say I I create a new Excel file, so I'll just save this Excel to desktop, and then if I say all files, now you see if I try to include any Excel, this file is not supported. But whereas under project files, I can upload any type of files that I prefer. So if I go into upload files, go into the desktop, I can just simply select any of the Excel, and you can see the Excel or Word that will get uploaded instantly. Now we also support working on Word file directly, so you don't have to download and open this file. You can just simply click onto this Excel and you can edit it online using Microsoft 360 online. So you can see this is an Excel which I am able to open it directly in BIM 360 platform. And every time I save and upload, it gives me a new version over here. Now this is how I'll work on any of this file. There are multiple ways to upload the file. I can either upload it by clicking onto this upload button, or when I'm working on Revit, I have multiple options to upload. One is like save as cloud model. I can also go into file, save as project, go into my computer, and here I have BIM 360, and there I can locate the folder which I have created, and then I can just simply save this file onto that BIM 360 location. So this becomes much easier. Like as a user, you can see I'm just simply working um, on my Revit. I don't have to do any kind of changes, but what I'll do is just simply save this file as non-work sharing in this particular location. So this becomes much easier for me to work. So while opening, I'll use the same format, file open, go into desktop, go to my computer, BIM 360, locate the folder, and then locate which project I am working upon, and then say for example here I have this Revit 22. I'll just simply open and it will open the file for me. So like we save the data onto a central file on a local server, we are just saving it into BIM 360 platform. Now in this BIM 360 platform, you see I have just created the AU post webinar. Now when I click onto this, it shows me all the projects that I have created that you have seen in my admin page. And if I have to switch to different project, I just click onto any of these projects that I wanted to go upon by just simply clicking onto that. Now you will also see I have my access to my account. This is my Niranjan's BIM 360 account. If any of the other companies who have asked me to work with them, and if they have granted access, like I have granted access to Devansh in my folder, so similarly Devansh has also given access to some of his projects. Now if I have to access that, I can see I have other sites which I have access for. So I can click onto that person's site or that company's site and see all the projects in which I have access, and then I can review those files as well. Now, if I wanted to view my files, I can go back into my project, and then I can select the files that I need to work upon. Now it really becomes simple. So whatever I'm showing you is something very similar that you will see on your BIM 360 apps when you are accessing through your mobile devices. So here, let's see what is the benefit that I get once I push this model into BIM 360. The first is I can have all my folder structures created however I wanted to use. And then whenever I upload a file, when it, say for example, it is a Revit file, you can see it is one single Revit file that you see. And that Revit file has segregated into individual sheets that are there on that particular um, file and the 3D view separately. Now this settings you can set under your under collaborate, and you have your publish setting. Now in this, what you see here is the basic of floor plans and other views that are available with you. Now say for example, I have created new sheets, and in this, say for example, I have a couple of new sheets which have been added. So there are two sheets. So now when I go into publish, you can see those sheets available. Now if I set this as a 3D view, now you see a 3D view has been created for that. Now if I go into this publish, I can select this 3D view and these two views, and I'll save this under my set one. So whenever I save this file, all the sheets and this 3D views will get published. So what you see in BIM 360 is all the sheets published separately of a Revit file, and then a 3D view published separately. Now, when I click onto this 3D view, you can see I do not need a high-end machine, but I can just simply open up that particular file in my BIM 360 environment. And this will show me the complete 3D view that I have, and any kind of stuff that I wanted to do, like say for example, I wanted to measure something, I can just simply measure distances directly into my model. I wanted to say for example, catch this overall parameter length, I'll do that. Now apart from that, say for example, you wanted to cut some sections, you wanted to cut a sections and view it, you can just simply create a sectional view and view it in any way. You can even rotate the sections to your preferred way. And if you want box sections like a simple Revit that we section box that we generally use, you can even create a section box level and view your model. So viewing capability is very easy and much more simpler to access. And with this, you can also select any of this element and see the model properties. Now these properties are directly coming from Revit. So whatever model properties are there on the Revit property sets, you are going to see them right over here. Um, then we have a couple of more steps. So if I move this, close this out. Now, if I get to open up a specific file, I can just simply click onto this sheet and it opens me that particular model. Now, when I'm working on these, if I have to communicate any of the informations that I have, so and say if I want to create some markups, you can see I can create multiple markups. And what we have added is a couple of new touch to call out. So when you click onto this call out, we have something called a cloud callout. So you can just create, it makes it much easier for creating a cloud base. So if I have to communicate change the door location and I save this markup, so you can see this markups get saved in my, all the old markups that are there will get saved, and by default any markups goes into as a private. So this is for my markups only. So unless I want this markups to be seen by rest of the team who has access to that particular folder, I can set this as publish, so rest of the team can also view and access this particular model, sorry, markup. So everybody will see what markups I have done. Now while working, many times it will happen, it's not just the markup, but we have to communicate specific things or an issue to a specific team. So at that particular time we have issues. What issues generally does is, say if we create a specific issues on a room, it helps us capture what type of issue it is. So this type is customizable. Say it is a design related issue, I can give a title, room size needs to be rechecked. And when I create an issue, it allows me to assign to either a specific company or a specific user. So as soon as I create a issue, I also have an option to create a due date. Say by this Friday, I need this particular issues to be resolved. I can specify location informations if I have, and then the root cause, anything that I wanted to add, or any descriptions for that, and I can create this particular issue. Now many times happens is for these issues, now we have also added uh, what I say is good features. So let me just close this. Now when we go into our project management, you will see now we can further customize our issues to our like, because many times we need to add some custom attributes to these issues. We say for example, like I need to enter uh, number of man hours that will require to number of man hours required to resolve this, or an additional cost that I wanted to add on to that. So this you can very well see under your issue tab. So if you go into project admin, this is something new that we have added right now. So you can create different types here. So all the types that you see, design types, commissioning type issues, I can create the types of issues that I constantly do. And then I can also create custom attributes. Now, custom attributes could be, say, I attribute title as cost tentative for resolving this. It could be a text, it could be a number, and I can create that. Now, what happens is these custom attributes, I can assign it to any specific design related. So if I have custom issues that I have created, I can add those attributes to that. So what happens is in my model, so when I click onto any of this file and I create an issue by clicking onto this button and create an issue, you can see I get this additional properties for that. So I have a number to add, KIID, and a tentative cost. Say I'll say it will cost about 10,000. So this information can go along with that, and I'm able to further customize my issues more effectively in terms of the how I use in my organization, right? So let's talk about the other benefits that we get. So whenever you save a file, it automatically keeps updating the version. So every time a file is saved or synchronized, it keeps a versions. Now these versions that you have, you can compare it by clicking onto this version button, hit onto that, and from the day one, how many versions are created, you can view that and select any two of them and hit compare directly over here. Now this will list down all the items that has been created new, which has been deleted, and which has been modified. So it gives you a complete list of comparison between these two versions. So here you can see I have 15 things that has been added. So when I click onto that, you can see it highlights that particular wall, and it shows me area and volume change in version 1 and version 4. So version 1, you can see now Version 4, I have removed this particular door, so it's a complete wall. Version 1, I have these doors. So you can see the area has been in a negative value. So volume and areas are some changes because of the design change. I can also download this as an Excel and then view that changes into an Excel by seeing the element ID, whether it is modified or added or deleted, and how it is affecting the properties of that, how much it is changing the areas and other things. So kind of gives me a great tool to view and compare my task. So let's close this and see what happens if we just have a PDF data that gets uploaded. Even in PDF, what it does, it segregates multi-sheet PDF into individual documents that you see here. So this is, sorry, so this is one single PDF that you see. Again, the PDF, or if it is a multi-sheet PDF, it will get listed down as an individual sheet, and you can click onto one single file and view them instead of opening the complete data. So even for PDF, you can do all the markups and issues if you have received. And also, like if you have two versions, you can even compare PDF. Now, remember, this is a simple 2D data that you have. So even for this PDF, you can say version 1 and version 2, and it is still generating that. You can see there are a couple of changes. Now, many times happens like it is fairly visible to see the changes that some of these doors got changed. They are newly added in version 2, but many times we always focus on the clouded areas which has been under communication, but we sometimes always neglect and forget if a user by mistake has edited some of the windows also, or he has by mistake deleted some more. So it kind of lists down everything in that particular model if there are any changes, and you are least onto that you're going to miss that particular thing as it comes in. Now, uh, the next part is all the drawings that are there, like these could be my working models. And while working on this, say for example, I create additional folder, say approval set for my contractor A or something like that. So I create a folder which is my approval sets for that. Now, in while doing that, I wanted to understand, or sorry, I wanted to share only the approved set of drawings to a specific group of members. So for doing that, I can just simply select a set of drawings, not the whole file if I don't want. Either I can send everything, or say I wanted to send only the lower ground and second floor plan. I can submit this for a review using this button. Now, review is a tool that allows us. So if I go into my project admin under document management, so this is a review set. Now what it does, it allows me to create approval processes for my drawing. So I can have one set approval, two set approval, like that. I can have up to 6-step approval, or I can have a group approval. Now what this group approval generally does is, you can specify a member who's like, say for the head of that particular department, but that person can assign to any of his colleague to approve on behalf of that. So you can set multiple members, and any one of them, if they approve, it's an approved set and document for that. So this is what we can do. So say for example, I create a one-step approval here, and I'll say AU class webinar. This is the name I wanted to give. Who can initiate? By default, I'll give it my, because I'm demonstrating that. And who's the approval? So let me say myself, because let it come to me and I'll show you a demo. Well, how much time I have to approve that? I can set it to 1, 2, 3 days or so. What is the approval looks like? Approved. Rejected looks like rejected. What is the symbol it should show? So you have a couple of symbols. And here is one more thing. Once the file is approved, what it should do, I can say put that under a selected folder. So I have just created approved set for my contractor A. So if I submit my drawing, or if it is approved, so I have any document in the review is approved, or all document in the review is approved. So I'll say it is approved, and it should go and put it under my approved set for contractor A. Now this approval set, I can use it throughout my project. It's a name that I have given it. So what happens is, let me just go and refresh this page because I just created on a new tab. So once I do that, I'm able to now submit my approval using that particular tool. Say for example, I wanted to give all my elevation and interior drawings for approval, right? So I have this option to submit for review, and I can select my AU class webinar. So this is the one. So these are the three files that it goes. I submit it. So when I submit, automatically it takes the reviewer who has been assigned over there. And then I can also CC any of these members that I want them to have a note. I can give a message and say submit. So since I'm already logged in, if I go into my review, you can see a review has been there and I have a due date for tomorrow. So when I open this, I can start a review process for that. Now I can click start a review. Now I wanted to show you something like what new we have added on this is, while reviewing, say for example, I open this particular drawing, right? I am reviewing all of this and say I say roof slope is missing on front, right? And when I'm adding a comment, I can also add a comment like this. And what happens, it all gets stored within this document. I can do markup, I can create a new issues and add on to that. Now what happens is these comments get added up over here. Now say for example, with this comment, I do say approve, and I approve all these documents, and you can see all this progress tracking and progress information is all mentioned on the right progress chart. Say for example, I submit this and I say approved with comment, and I'll submit. Now what it will do is it will approve the drawing and do the following task. That means it is going to publish that folder into that. Now before I go into that particular folder, I wanted to show this new feature that we have, which is export your report. So when you export this, it shows you a complete list. So it's a fixed plane list. So these are the files, right? Current status is approved. And then over here, you can see it kind of lists you all the comments that has been added and who has initiated, who has a final comment. So everything is mentioned on that particular list. Now, if I go back into my folder and I say approve set for contractor A. Now you can see it has an approved sign and it has copied those file, and now the versioning has restarted from version 1. And next time when I send this file, a new file, it will become a version 2 for that. So this is how this is added up. Now similarly, if I show you in the project file, what is the difference in this is, when I work on the project file, the file which, say for example Revit, it will look exactly similar, but it comes as one single file. When you click onto that, it takes you to the 3D and it shows you all the 3D files that are there. So when you click onto that, you see that particular view, and there are a couple of things that always get added up onto these sheets. Say for example, you wanted to have a quick view from this particular location on this floor plan, you wanted to review this particular model in 3D. So what it does, it takes you right over there and allows you to review this model in that 3D model of where you were. So you can go back, exit, and it takes you back into that particular file that you have. So it becomes much easier. Now you can also have Naviswork file. So meanwhile, let me just start a Naviswork manager the sans, and this is something that new we have added. Now we always have Naviswork NWD file, which is directly accessible. Now when we work on Naviswork file, what we have added recently is any issues that you created now can be reflected back into Navisworks. So you can see I have issues. Say for example, I go over here and say this is a door issue that I wanted to create. So I'll create an issue right here and say door needs to be sliding. And then I'll assign this to say myself because I wanted to see this in Naviswork in my account. So I have these things. I just keep this and I'll say create. Now in Naviswork, if I'll open my Naviswork, I need to be logged in with my account and I need to install this BIM 360 issue add-on. So this is available in our App Store. So if you go into our App Store and select Naviswork, we have recently added this BIM 360 issue tab. So this is the one that I'm talking about. So what it allows us, it synchronize the issues with Naviswork. It's a free tool, download directly from Autodesk. So you can just simply download and access it. Now say I open that same model. I use the file open. I locate the BIM 360 where this file is. And then say I open my Naviswork model, click open. And here, when I click refresh, it lists down all my issues that I have just created. Door needs to be sliding. That's the one that I just created. You can see here, it takes me directly to that particular view. So if I slide these together, say like this, and then I have my BIM 360, right? So this, I'll take it out and put it across over here. So now you can see these are both referring to the same. So if I click this, I have a view. So if I click to door open, so this is the issue. Now say for example, in my Naviswork, I create an issue. So I'll just name this as window issue, right? And I assign it to myself so that I see it in my BIM 360 and I'll create, right? So new issue has been created. So I may even wait for a moment or just simply for to save time, I'll just refresh this. Now, as if I created that issue in Naviswork, you will see that reflecting back in my BIM 360. So now you can see I can communicate anywhere to my design team. So you can see here window issues that has just been which I just created is now listed down over here. So whatever I'm showing you is possible with your iPad and Android also, because both the things syncs well. So if you are creating an issue in iPad or a mobile Android phone, it will reflect back in your model as into your BIM 360 as well. Now the plan folders is quite commonly used specifically for design collaboration. It has been developed more to work in the project folders that we have. So one thing I want to touch base is that design collaboration, and there are something new that we have recently added. Now, while working on design collaboration, we constantly work on teams, right? So say for example, I'm working on Revit 2020 here, and say I have some design collaboration. Now, whenever I add any files, so even whether it's a let me go change this particular thing into BIM 360 2020 because that's where I have kept the file. Now, anytime I push any new files into BIM 360, now BIM 360 team, design collaboration will automatically identify new team has been discovered. When you click onto that, it shows us the new file that is there and which team you wanted to add on to that. So you can click onto that and create setup and create a team directly. It is much easier now to, you don't have to go and create this team separately. It just does it by itself. In case if you are constantly working and you have not refreshed, you can just scan for new items and it will discover any new files that has been added onto that or not. So this really makes it easier for us to work with files. So let's go into design collaboration here, and let me quickly show you what new things that we have added up over here. So working with design collaboration is much easier. Say you have your team A that you see here, Under this, I can add multiple teams. Oh, sorry. Let me just go into my 2021. Excuse me. Right. So here you can see I have teams. So now with BIM 360 design collaboration, if I go into my uh, BIM 360 doc, I can add non-work sharing files also here. So this has been a constant request from many of our customers. Like if you have uh, design collaboration which you are working upon, and say if you have files which needs to be sent as a package, which is just a simple Revit file and not non-work sharing file. So you can say you can just simply save a non-work sharing file, and that will still reflect in your BIM 360 design collaboration, and you can create a package directly from here. So that's simple it becomes. So if you wanted to review a model, there are a couple of things that has been added. One is you don't have to publish that model from Revit, so you can just update to latest by clicking onto that, and what it will do is it will update all the files to the latest. We also have something called a status report. So what it does is all the files, whether it has been published or it is still on a old version, it will list down over here, so you get to know before you creating a package where you are on the latest or not. You can click onto this detail and it will show you when was the last time it was completed, and so on. It also gives you some technical info. If you face any difficulties, you can use this to log it to a support as well. So this helps us to really make sure we are on the latest one. Now if we are on, say for example, we wanted to review a model, we click onto that, it shows you the 3D model of this. Now it gives you all the sets that are included in that. Now when I click onto these sets, it shows me the floor plan. Now here also we have added something called a mini map. So when you click onto this, it takes you right over onto that particular place to review it, just like the one. You can also keep them side by side to have a clear info where you are looking at. So you can see it in a floor plan, you can see it in the model, and have a clear review of that particular model. So it becomes very easy for us to have the package and maintain it. While doing that, we have also added this new button called email notification. So if you subscribe to this particular team, any changes or modification that we are doing will get added up, and you will have a notification of any changes. Now, this includes our BIM 360 platform, but I wanted to touch base on one more thing, which is the model coordination. Now, I have multiple files in this particular project. So let me just go back into my model, and then I'll quickly show you the BIM 360 model coordination. Now here I have so many files in this, and now I have structural, I have different collaboration sets onto that. So if I wanted to have a set which needs to be constantly reviewed for clashes and coordination, I can keep my model coordination over there. And what it will help me do is create a set, say for example, MEP and structure, MEP and architecture, and so on. And I can specify these are the files that needs to be checked on that. So when I click onto this clashes, it gives me a Gantt chart of, if you see these two files, how many clashes are there on that. I can just simply click onto that to review it, or I can manually select two files and say show me all the clashes. So till the last date, any kind of clashes are there on that particular model, that will get listed, and you will be able to review these clashes. Now there are there are two things. One is the Naviswork clashes that we have, and second one is the BIM 360. Now working on Naviswork model, say for example this one, right? So if I click onto this clashes, you can see there are clashes. Now a good point about these clashes are, it will group multiple clashes. Like you can see three clashes in one. So when I click onto that, it shows me like one particular pipe is hitting three uh, structural elements. So I know like if this can be assigned to one MEP guy, it can help us resolve. So I can directly create an issue. It takes the title automatically, and then I can specify, say I put this particular thing here. I'll assign it to a person. I set it a due date, and I'll say create issue. So this way I create an issue and I can handle, and these issues will get listed under my issue tab. So when I click onto that, you can see a new issues which gets created automatically. Just refresh that and it will get added up. So meanwhile, this views are also included. So this is how a model coordination generally work. So I believe I'm almost on time here with this webinar. However, if you want to see any of these points uh, into detail, I can have a separate sessions, or you can give me a call. We can meet up and we'll show this individual points which you are interested in into a more detailed part. So let me come back into my session here, and before I close, let me just start up a poll. So we are now going to start our poll. I request you to answer these polls. So this poll will be used later on for the lucky draw. The first question is, what is your role in your company? So this is specifically for the um, uh, for getting the details. So please answer this poll. I hope it will come now. So I'll give another 5 seconds. Okay, I'm closing the poll now. The next question is, so do you relate to the workflow presented in this webinar today? So do let us know. I'm launching the poll now. Okay, I'll close this poll now. So the next one is, were the content of today's webinar relevant to your work? And this is the poll I'm launching now. I'll give another 2 seconds. Okay, and the last one, do you want any of our Autodesk team to reach out to you to further detail and further discuss this feature? Okay, so I'm closing the poll now. So with this, we have come to the end of this session. If you have any questions, do write to us, and do call any of us, or you can also put that onto your Q&A chat box. We'll take that and we'll get back to you. Thank you all for joining this. You all have a good day. Thank you. Bye.